Hi guys, what's up? I want to show you today how to work a little bit with Photoshop and Illustrator at the same time. I want to show you something very interesting about both of these red rectangles, which look almost identical, a little bit different in size, but there's more going on. Let's start with Illustrator. With Illustrator, if I select the square, or rectangle, should I say, um, what you're seeing up here is, this is kind of interesting, there are these little um, they're called anchor points. And watch this. If I take them and I select one specifically, I can actually manipulate the shape and the size of this rectangle. I can even, if I, know what I'm doing here. If it lets me, there we go. I can add another anchor point and I can even change the shape even more. With Photoshop, I can't do that because this is a bunch of pixels. In other words, if I zoom in a whole lot, and I'm going to try to do that with like an edge here, what I'm going to start to see is, you can see it's made up of these little tiny squares. And if I try to select it and move it around, nothing's really going to happen, at least not the way I have it drawn, because it's just a white rectangle on or a red rectangle on a white space. If I come in with this rectangle though, what you see is what you get. So if I decide to come in here with an eraser tool and I decide to just, I'm going to go ahead and swipe through, just erase this, and as I zoom in, you can see there are those pixels again. Pretty bumpy, but you know, from a distance, hey, who cares, right? But again, what you see is what you get. Back in Illustrator, little different. Check this out. I go in with the eraser tool, and I'm going to go ahead and swipe in, and I'm just drawing some bizarre, I don't know what this is, shape. And you can actually see that I drew new anchor points. And if I look at this in outline view, this is actually what it is. It's the computer saying, hey, that is a shape, right, with all these anchor points drawn. And I can continue to, if I wanted to, manipulate these. What I also love about Illustrator, just to get back to this, is if I wanted to, I could select this shape and say, you know what, I changed my mind. I think I'm going to make this blue. And you can do the same thing to a certain extent in Photoshop, but this is a little bit harder to do in Photoshop. I move stuff around. I can do all kinds of crazy stuff with this. Oh, watch this. I can take this and I can add a stroke to it. Let's make it a little bigger, right? And what's nice about this is no matter how big or how small I make this, as many times as I zoom in, I will never see any pixels, because all the computer is remembering is, oh, here's an anchor point. Here's where its location is, right? Is it curved? Oops, let me go back to outline view, right? Is it curved? And then what's the color that I fill it with? And what do I stroke it with? It's so easy. Whereas over here, the computer is remembering every tiny little pixel up on the screen. So when I manipulate something, I have to take into consideration each and every single one of these boxes. That's kind of the fundamental difference between Illustrator and Photoshop. Vector, and this is pixel based or raster based.